So if you're going DPS wand, or I mean, not DPS wand, like healer wand, this is basically your loadout. I will show you the skills that you absolutely need for healer wand. And I will show you the skills that you can kind of toggle off if you don't want them. Okay, because some people like to go more on the healing side. Some people like to have more DPS. I'm a little bit more of a hybrid. All right, so let's talk about this. So for PvP, this is what I like, okay? And I just started using some of these skills today, and I was like, oh my god, these are so good. Okay, for starters, in PvP, these skills right here, all right? These skills are critical if you're a healer. You basically have to be running these, okay? Keep in mind, this is the large-scale PvP healer build loadout, okay? This is what you want to be running, okay? This is not for PvE. This is not for the dungeons. This is if you're in a party with a group and you are PvPing, okay? These 3 skills are absolutely essential, okay? The reason that they are essential is that this is your sleep right here. This Cursed Nightmare skill is your sleep, okay? And this other skill right here, this Karmic Haze, this is what spreads the sleep. So normally, this is a kind of a single target skill, okay? Karmic Haze spreads your curses to other players. So, and sleep counts as a curse in this case. Its effect counts in this case. So what you want to do is you want to cast sleep, and then you want to cast Karmic Haze when you initiate, okay? You do this every time on a big group of people, on a big cluster of people, and it sleeps like 15 people. It's insane. It spreads on like 50 people. It's insane. This skill over here, this one right here, this is time for punishment, and you can see it decreases the target's skill damage resistance by 180 for 9 seconds. Okay, it also has a 90% chance to inflict a curse. Yeah, nobody cares. But the skill damage resistance is exactly what you think it is. Okay, it's damage. Okay, it's just damage. All your allies do more damage. Okay, they do more damage to the target when you use this skill. All right, so in large scale PvP, what you want to do is you want to be hugging the ass of your tank. Okay, you're just behind the tank. All right, so if the tank is like let's see, let's go like this. So if this is the tank here, you're right behind him in range, but kind of back, so you don't take the brunt of the melee assault. Right, whoever the tank targets, you're gonna hit T as in Timmy. Okay. That will automatically lock you onto your party lead's target. Your tank should be your party lead in large-scale PvP. And then you hit the number 1. Or you hit this, you hit the whatever button you have time for punishment on. Okay? Because then everybody in your party should be hitting that target, ideally. And they're all doing more damage that way. Okay? Ideally, if they are in a big group, that's when you want to also cast your sleep, followed by Karmic Haze. All right? This is your initiate. I would argue that like you don't have stealth. I don't have stealth as a staff wand. Okay, this is a staff wand. I do not have stealth. Okay, so I can't unless Laquarius's tone does give me a little stealth, but that's beside the point. So we're not really initiating, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be running CC. Okay, everyone should be running their primary CCs. For bow classes, it's that big gale thing where everybody gets knocked up in the air. It's like a big wave. Okay, for you, it's this sleep, and the sleep is really good, but you have to run Karmic Haze with it. That's why these 3 are essential no matter what you do. Okay, now we're going to skip over some of the damage skills because those are optional. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the heal skills that you absolutely need to be running are Swift Healing. This is your primary heal, and you're going to put basically all of the skill specializations on this thing. I'll get to skill specializations in a moment. Okay, but like you're going to put everything on this because this is your primary heal. Okay, this is it. This is the heal skill. This is how you get people from 10% health. If you've ever noticed in the game, you went from 10% health, and then you're like, as your health goes back to full health, that's swift healing because you get 3 charges of it. It's just bam, big heal, okay? Then you also need to be running Clay's Salvation. This is your AoE heal for the whole party. It's not as good as swift healing is on a single target because you get 3 charges of this, but this is basically 1 charge, equivalent to 1 charge of swift healing, okay? But for everyone in the party, they just have to be relatively close to you, okay? Very essential skill. Very essential skill. This is also Blessed Barrier. If you're a Black Desert player, this is your protected area, okay? But if you're just a Throne and Liberty player, you're playing for the first time, Blessed Barrier, this is your skill, okay? This is how you make your front line and your party invincible for 6 seconds, basically. It gives them ridiculously tanky stats. For 6 seconds, they're just not going to die. Okay? This is something that you use when people say use your defensive buffs, right? Right before you go in. That's when you want to use Blessed Barrier. Okay? Some people say you should use it after you hit the ground. I would argue that it's like once you're in the engagement. I would argue that it's way too messy once you're in there, and people are a little bit too spread to get Blessed Barrier down. Because if you look at the how it casts, if you look at how it, oh, I'm not using my, I forgot. I was like, I'm not using my, let me change my loadout here. Okay, it's an AoE skill like this. You have to like click where you want it to put down. You have to click where you want to put it down. Okay. You can double tap the button twice and basically put it on top of yourself for more. It'll put it wherever your mouse is. But like you can play in combat mode and it'll go wherever you're clicking. It'll go wherever you're clicking. So like combat mode's really good. I haven't gotten used to playing in combat mode yet because you hit V to toggle this on and off. And your camera kind of turns like this. Okay. All right. Now back to this. All right. So that's Blessed Barrier. It gives basically your party invulnerability. This is a required skill. This skill right here, Fountain of Life. A lot of people go in on this skill really hard. I'm going to be honest with you. In large scale PvP, I don't really think it's all that great. But people are constantly moving around, and your tank is probably not going to be standing in it. And judging by how quickly people get burst down, it really doesn't have a crazy impact. I run it because it's really good at dropping, like, right before you engage. If you know that your backline is going to be standing in a certain spot, okay, you can put that there and they can absorb a little bit more bomb damage. Or you can put it on your front line while they're on the boss or something, or whatever. I run it. I don't run very much add-ons for it in PvP. In the dungeon, this skill is amazing. This skill is super good in like the PvE co-op dungeons, but in large scale PvP, it's like, okay. You can choose not to run this. I run it because I'm a little bit more healer spec than most people, but yeah. Victorious Energy. This is your big damage buff. This is how you buff all of your party. You need to be running this skill. Originally, it's not called Victorious Energy. It's called something different. It's called High Focus. Okay, this is a staff skill. This is a staff skill. Okay, so if you're a staff, you will be able to run this skill. Okay, and this is why staffs give damage buffs to their party that are just that good. That are just so good. You need to be running Victorious, the Victorious Energy version of this skill. All right, it's up here. Okay, basically what it's going to do is it's going to give melee, magic, and ranged hit chance. It also gives melee, magic, and ranged evasion. Okay, you're giving tanky buffs, you're giving damage buffs. You're just absolutely turboing. This is a great skill. Right before you go in, you use this skill. It lasts for 12 seconds, so you should use it right before you engage, and then people will have it for the very impactful portion of the engagement. Okay, now let's talk about some of the optional skills. If you want to go more PvE focused, if you want to go more healer focused, okay, in large scale PvP, this barrier skill, this invincible wall skill, okay, the shield skill. I have some skill I used to have some skill specializations on it, but not anymore. This is okay. I do not feel that it is crazy impactful in PvP. However, if you do insist on running that skill, when you come over to the skill specializations, like let's say you know you're not very good at the game, okay? And you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to support because I know that I can't output a tremendous amount of damage. It's a good skill in that case. Know yourself. If you're terrible, just use this. But just make sure that when you use Invincible Wall, this. Okay, you need to use Targets Expanded. Applies to all party members within range. But the effectiveness decreases. That way, your whole party gets a shield. Okay, so it's basically just giving your whole party a shield. Okay. And it scales off of your base damage. So again, strength is important as a healer as well. Don't think that strength is not important. Strength gives you HP. Strength gives you some damage too. Skill damage increased, or skill distance increased. If you really want to run that, you can. It's not really required. I've experimented with it. Usually people are within range as long as they're in the positions that they should be in. You don't really need that, but it is useful. Again, if you have extra points laying around, it's not the worst skill in the entire world. Instead of Invincible Wall, though, I choose to take more damage-focused skills. Okay, so let's talk about the choice things. So now you have to figure out how you're going to do damage. Okay, because no matter what build you go in large scale PvP, you're gonna have room to put damage down. Okay, you can't just run a full healer loadout and not be able to hit people. Okay, I prefer, since I have a staff, I prefer to run the staff skills. I have experimented with the curse skills. If you want to run the curse skills here, I'll use my DPS loadout. Actually, I'll use my dungeon loadout here. If you want to, nah, I'll just switch it back when it's done. If you want to use the curse skills, you're looking at these skills right here. Touch of Despair, Curse Explosion, Corrupted Magic Circle. Okay, these are the 3 skills that you're going to have instead of these 3 skills for the most part. Okay. And I like to run Ray of Disaster instead of running this Invincible Wall. I just started using Ray of Disaster. I actually think it's amazing. I didn't think it was super great when I started. Now it's really good because I can just click a button and it automatically just starts damaging me and the target in front of me and everything between us. And it actually does pretty good damage. As you level it up, the damage increases pretty well. So like Ray of Disaster is actually a really solid skill. It's a really long cooldown though. Really, really long cooldown though. So like if you're going to run the curse skills, you need to be doing Touch of Despair, Curse Explosion, and Corrupted Magic Circle instead of these 3 skills here. Okay, instead of your Fireball, instead of your electric skills. Those are the 3 that you're going to run. I would warn you that if you're a healer, the reason that I tried it, it's not super great as a healer. You need a lot of time to get your damage down, which means you need to be in range of your targets for an extremely long period of time. But I'll be honest with you, Curse, Sleep Bomb, Wand is really good. If you want to run it more as a DPS focus and you're not focused on healing, it's really solid. It does a lot of damage. You basically apply all of your curses and then you blow them all up at the same time in a big sleep. So like you hit them with a big sleep, apply all your curses, everyone's ticking down, Curse Explosion, kaboom, everybody blows up. It's really hard to set up though. It's extremely hard to set up, and like as a healer, you're so focused on everyone else around you and keeping everybody healthy and positioning that I really just didn't feel I had the positioning to constantly be forward and backward at the same time. So I don't really recommend it if you're a staff wand as a damage loadout. Instead, I prefer just big burst damage, especially in large scale PvP. You should be running, whenever you have the choice between damage over time and burst damage, usually you want to run burst damage, because when you're engaging and you want to blow up targets, if everyone's running burst damage, you blow up a lot of targets, you just remove people from the fight immediately. And that is more impactful than the damage over time stuff, generally speaking. The curse stuff is really good if you can get it down and get it to work, but it's tough unless you have a dagger to go invis and like play with it, you know what I mean? It's a little tough. So I run these skills because they are the highest DPS in the kit. I run Focus Fireball. This is your Fireball skill with skill specializations on it. You can basically charge it up, and it does more damage as you charge it up. I also have a we'll go over to the passive soon. I also have a passive where if you stand still, you do more damage. But like, yeah, okay. So Chain Lightning, also incredibly good. These are big. It's just immediate burst damage. It's good in PvE. It's good in PvP. You can't go wrong with both. Judgment Lightning is actually even more damage. So if you have to choose between these 2 skills, you're running Judgment Lightning, because like this burst damage is really good and it goes off really fast. So you don't have to sit there like this skill right here. It's just not a super great skill to use, Fireball Barrage, because you have to sit there and it has a cast time, and then it takes time to cast overall. And these skills, you just hit the button and it goes off, and then you're right back to healing your allies. So like you're kind of poking forward as a staff wand. You're kind of poking forward, doing the burst damage that you can. Heal, 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 buff. Damage where I can. Heal, 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 buff. Damage where I can. Heal, 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 buff. Okay, and you can go a little bit more damage if you want to. Like you could take the Fountain of Life out too and add a little bit more damage and like do a shitload of damage. You can get a lot of kills as a healer in this game. Really, really solid. Really, really solid. But like I choose the Fountain of Life because it's just, I don't know. I might get rid of it. I'll be honest. I might get rid of it for the Meteor skill. This is also fine. We haven't talked about the Meteor skill yet. Meteor is incredibly good. Okay, because there's a thing on here. This right here. Because there's an add-on for Meteor that gives health recovery effect minus 60%. This is really good because typically you're going to be behind your tank hitting their front line, which is their tanks. Okay, if you get a Meteor down on their tanks and they can't heal themselves, they're dead. Okay, as a tank, you should know you're just dead, right? So that is a good skill. It's not necessarily required, but it is that is the skill that I'm gonna experiment with moving forward here. This Fountain of Life is just not. It's just never a way to get this down in a minute, because you're always running, right? You're always moving forward, you're moving backward. Like, it's tough to sit in Fountain of Life. It's not like the dungeon where you can sit in it and really get the value time heal out of it. So the Meteor is just really solid. Meteor has a really long cooldown though, and you do have to run the health recovery. In my opinion, you should run the health recovery thing if you're going to run it. Which means that I have to take off something if I'm going to do that. So for now, for the purposes of the guide, I'm just going to chill for a sec. I'm just going to leave the circle here. Okay. Skill specialization. Okay, no, passives first. Passives first. Okay, these are the passives that you're running. Do not argue with me. Okay. Devotion of Emptiness. Increase healing and decrease cooldowns by X% during the day. Increase skill damage over time by 34%. And curse skill cooldowns by 10% at night. Remember, these are your curse cooldowns. These are curses. So even if you're not running full curse, it's still impactful. This one is really good. Devotion of Emptiness, you're basically running this all the time. It's really, really solid, especially as a healer. Can't go wrong. Selfless Soul, granting healing, recovery, and regen to allies via active skills, increases mana regen and healing by 7%, stacking up to 3 times. That means your healers are going to be 21% stronger. Okay. Well, then it says stack per 3 seconds 5 times. So your heal is going to be 35% better. This is just a really good skill. You can't go wrong as a healer with that skill. Saint's Oath, also really good. Taking skill damage has a 20% chance to increase healing. Healing received, Amatoi healing, and potion healing by 13.5%. This is what happens when you get Dove as a healer, and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna die. And then you use Swift Healing, that skill we talked about before, and your health just goes back to full. Okay, that's these passives working together. Okay, because you're getting hit, and it's stacking this 5 times, and your heal just, you're like, oh, never mind, we're good. Right? It makes you incredibly resilient as a healer. Saint's Oath is really, really good. This is one of the passives that you can choose to sub out if you want to. This increases mana regen. A lot of people in MMOs are like, oh, well, how much does mana regen really help? In a game like BDO or something, like mana regen is useless. In this game, mana regen as a healer is absolutely required. You need mana regen, or you will just run all the time. Okay, unless you're just an idiot and you die constantly. Okay. Asceticism, really solid for the mana regen. Full of Corruption increases max damage by 32 and mana regen per 28 when victims of the weakened effects die. So when you land sleep, like big sleeps and your karmic haze, this active happens. Okay, Full of Corruption, really solid, even if you're not a curse, like even if you're not running curse. This is one of the passives that you can sub out if you want to for something else. Like, you can choose to go more damage focused here. You can kind of take this off, and you can choose to go Forbidden Sanctuary, which just increases your skill damage, but decreases your mana cost efficiency. So, like, it's a trade-off. But if you want to be more of a DPS, this is you could definitely slot this in. It's really, really good. You could also put in this move speed buff, the Frostmaster. I haven't used this at all yet. Move speed is really good, but like if your party is faster than everyone else's, it means that you're going to reach the destination so fast that you're just dead, and then everybody else arrives. So like, you don't want to be running in the 90s too fast, but move speed is really good. Really, really good in the game. This firing bombs or projectiles with staves or wands has a 105% chance to fire an additional bomb or projectile that deals X amount of base damage. It also increases your mana regen. So you can run this as well. Okay, I prefer to run the Chalice because that just happens to be what I can get off effective sleeps and stuff, but you can absolutely run more damage or mana regen with this as well. Okay, this is Wraith's Beacon, increases the user's curse duration by 2.7 seconds, as well as curse chance by 4%. Why would this matter? Okay, well, when you're laying down sleep, okay, when you're laying down this curse right here, Curse Nightmare, this has a certain percentage chance to make it last for longer so that you can get Karmic Haze off. It just gives you a couple extra seconds to get Karmic Haze off. Really, really solid. Okay, and it increases their ability to get cursed by 4% too, which is good because you don't want them to resist your sleep. Right? This last one is Echoic Barrier. I personally love this because it decreases silent duration, increases silent bind and sleep resistance by 540. You're a healer. They're going to be trying to bomb you with CCs. This just makes the CCs less intensive on you so that you can keep casting your skills. Because if you're not CC'd and you have your heals up, you're probably not going to die. Okay, there's nothing that's going to be able to really kill you all that quickly. But like if you get CC'd, you're probably going to die. So like this just decreases your CC overall. Again, there are a couple of these passes that you can sub out, like the Full of Corruption and Wraith's Beacon. You can take those out. I just feel like they make the sleep with Karmic Haze just a little bit stronger. And again, you can go more mage skills as well, and then put in the damage skills as well if you'd like to. Okay, addendum to the passives. I do think that these two passives down here are better. Noble Revival and Mana Amp. Mana Amp gives you basically 1,000 max mana, but it keeps giving you more max mana the more you level it up. And then Noble Revival gives you 2.6% better healing per 1,000 max mana. So if you get a bunch of max mana traits on your gear and then you're running this, your heals are doing so much more. And then the more you level up Noble Revival, just the better your heals are. So I'm leaning a little bit more into the healing aspect of it, but yeah. Okay, so those are the passives that I like to run. And again, this is specifically for large scale PvP. Skill specializations. I'm just going to hide my webcam right now so that you guys can see this. This is what I run on my lightning skills. This means that my lightning is going to chain to other targets without it having to be raining. And the damage is going to be the same for all of the targets that it chains to. The AoE is just incredibly good on these lightning skills. It'll chain to like 3 different targets. It's just bam! It blows up like 3 people at the same time. You just 3-4. I just hit 3-4. Boom, boom. Judgment lightning, chain lightning, come down, they kill them. Focus fire bombs, I think, are incredibly good. You absolutely must be running this mobility. Can cast it while moving. This is a must. If you're running fireball, you have to use this because it feels really bad to have to stand there and cast it. Focus fire bombs allows you to charge it up. So if you click and hold the button, you can literally charge it up and it'll do like way more damage. Like way more damage. So again, big burst damage. Big burst damage. Victorious Energy, we talked about this. You bring all 3 on Victorious Energy. This is originally high focus. High focus is just like increases cooldown speed by 50% for all skills and move speed for 12 seconds. That's just for yourself. Okay, targets expanded, which gives it to all party members. That's an important one. This increases the max damage of party members and puts that on it. And then this increases the hit chances on it as well. So Victorious Energy, just becomes this giga skill that you're spamming when it's off cooldown right before you're going to engage. This is really, really solid. And these are all my wand. I mean, my staff skeletons. Moving over to the wand, this is where most of your points are going to be invested. For Cursed Nightmare, you absolutely must have Deep Sleep and Enhanced Nightmare. So what Deep Sleep does can be removed if attacks twice while sleeping. So normally the way that sleep works, guys, is they go to sleep and then you hit them and they wake up. But this means that you can hit them twice, or they can get hit by 2 skills before they even wake up, which is really good, especially if you're running like the curse mage. It gives you time to get all those dots down on them. Okay, all those curses down on them. Enhanced Nightmare, it instantly falls asleep unless affected by a move speed decrease. Okay, so normally sleep takes a second or 2 to go off, but like Enhanced Nightmare means bam, they're slept. Initiate, good, very, very good. When they're asleep, the damage is a guaranteed crit. Thank you, chat. Forgot to say that. This is why chat is here. Thank you, Short. Appreciate you. Okay, Ray of Disaster. I had some extra points, so I'm messing with them right now. But cooldown is reduced by 50% and damage is boosted by 100%. I just saw that as an objective win. I was like, okay, well, sure. And I'll be honest, it does really good damage. Really, really solid. Really, really solid. But you do not need this one, especially if you're not running Ray of Disaster. You can put something on Fountain of Life. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second. I run Karmic Haze. You absolutely must have the range increase on Karmic Haze. What this means is when you cast Sleep and then you get the Karmic Haze down, this has a wider radius of people that it can spread to. So it's just basically directly increasing like the AoE radius of your sleep. It's super, super good. You have to run that. Clay's Salvation. There's actually some good add-ons here that you can run. I have the radius increase because like sometimes my party members are a little bit spread out and a little bit scattered, and like the radius increase is impactful because it's a 5 meter ring. Like, bro, like they could be in almost off screen and bro, it's hitting them. It's really good. This is really good too, though. The weaken removal. I believe what this does is it removes the CC on your party members. Removes 1 weaken effect from all party members within range. So this is really solid. The problem with me using this is I end up using it for the weaken removal and then the heal. So like I remove their CC and then they just die to the damage because like I've already wasted my AoE heal, which is a little frustrating. But this is really good. I've experimented with it. Really solid heads up use. Do not take this. This is bad. Janus's Rage basically instead of this being a heal, gives your party members damage boost. And this might be good in a dungeon where you know you're not going to need this skill. And you can kind of put it over on Janus's Rage, but in large scale PvP, you're not doing that. Okay, let's time for punishment. I've experimented with enchanting time. This gives a huge damage buff to your parties. You see 180 damage to your party. I've run with this a lot. It's actually really fucking good. It's really good. The problem is, if you're in a party like this, and like, you see how I'm targeting on my left side here? Okay. If I want to cast that on somebody, okay, so I'm on the tank, I'm healing the tank, I'm healing the tank. Okay, now I have to cast that skill. Okay, now I have to transfer to note. Okay, cast that skill. Is he in range? Wait, I have to run over there. Wait, no, the tank needs healing. Okay, now we're gonna go back to crawl. Okay, like it's really hard. It's really hard. Okay, it's difficult to use correctly, but if you're a gamer, you could totally get it done. Okay, I think that time for punishment is an easier skill to use in a large scale scenario because it basically just boom, you're hitting the enemy target, and now everyone just does more damage to them. Instead of one person being giga damage, it's everyone just doing more damage. Okay, and so like this is generally what I've kind of settled on. Time for punishment is a really good skill. I don't think you really need the duration on it increased by 3 seconds. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. If you have extra points, you can put it in that. This has a 90% chance to apply a weakened curse. Doesn't really matter. Don't really recommend to take that. It's kind of garbage unless you're running the curse variation of staff wand, in which case, okay, sure, you can use it. Invincible wall we talked about. Targets expanded is required if you're going to do it. It's really good. And then the increases the range by 5 meters. Essentially, this is the same as Clay's Salvation. You could basically heal somebody from almost off screen, or I mean, like get the buff from almost off screen, but like, bro, the shield is just not super great. It's like, okay. And if you use the single target shield, it's like, okay, but then, or it's pretty good, but it's only on one person and you have to target them. It's like, like the shield is good, but I don't really feel like it's all that impactful on large scale. Blessed Barrier. Okay, this is one of your biggest skills and your most impactful skills when used correctly as a healer. Applies to all party members. You must have this. Otherwise, it's a single target skill. You must have targets expanded on Blessed Barrier. That way you can use the AoE instead of just single targeting one member of your party. Multiples can get it. Very, very good. Duration increase, skill duration increased by 1 second. If you have extra points, I highly recommend putting it into that. 1 second can mean the difference between absorbing a tremendous amount of damage or dying. In large scale PvP, you're not taking this one, but this is increases an ally's max damage by 80. But in a dungeon format, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing if you want to switch over in a dungeon format to that. Okay, but like in large scale PvP, you're running this. Large scale PvP, you're running this. Ray of Disaster, again, I'm experimenting with these slowly. Cooldown decreased by 6 seconds. No, you don't want that. This one reduces the cooldown by 50%. The target's movement speed decreases by 15%. Yeah, whatever. If it was like an AoE, then it would be good, but like, targets expanded. Basically, the way Ray of Disaster works is you lock onto an enemy target and everyone between you and them is also getting hit by the Ray too. This will just hit 2 more people. There's not very many scenarios where that's going to be super useful, so I don't really use that one very much. Okay. As far as build path goes, let me explain to you what your Bish stuff is. Right here. Laquarius' coveted tome. Need it. If you're a ranged healer, you need this Bish. If you're an SNS wand, you're not using this. Okay, because it makes you go invisible at 20% health. It's kind of a sag. In a lot of cases, there is a better wand available for you. But for any ranged healer, this is definitely your best wand. You must have this. You get it from the Cave of Destruction dungeon. That's the ant one. That's the one with the big ant queen. Just run that shit. Just keep running it till you get it, or pity it out. It's really solid. This is your best in slot ring, Sapphire Dimensional Band. Really, really good. So you want to try to get that. You can get it from a pity system from the dungeon. If you do all the dungeons, like, I don't know, 5 times or something, or you can, if you have those chests to open up, You can open up the chests to give you extra pities for the dungeons, but you have to do all the dungeons X amount of times, like 5 times or something, and then you can get this thing for free. You want to choose the Sapphire Dimensional Band. This is what your best in slot is because it increases your attack range. Your attack range, from what I understand, it does also increase your buff range too. Okay, so like it be kind of bussin'. It be kind of bussin'. Really, really good. Really, really good. And since you know it's your best thing, you can put skill damage boost on it. Obviously, you want skill damage boost. That's your best trait. Just across the board, you're going to want that. This belt is really good. Belt of Combat Prowess. It drops from one of the secret dungeons. I'm forgetting which. Hopefully, Note can kind of edit in which one it is. But like, you can just go down to that dungeon and just farm it out, and you'll just get a bunch of these belts. Just make sure you get the one with skill damage. You just get one with skill damage resistance on it, and then you can add max health and debuff duration later. But those are the best traits. I'm still maxing them out, but like, that's a really good belt, especially for the mid game. I'm not sure which purple belt I'm going to use for end game yet, but we're not quite there yet anyway. Violent Signet. This is just a placeholder ring. I'll be honest with you. Our placeholder signet, I guess, as they call it. I'm definitely going to replace this. It is not what I want. It does not have what I want. As a healer, the stats that you are looking for, people talk about builds all the time. There's hundreds of different things you can do. You need to understand, set aside all the item names and all this. Oh, I have to build this and this and this. No. Okay, you're gonna get hundreds of different items, and they're not all gonna be bad. You just need to know which stats to look for. You're looking right now, as of October 8th, 2024, is a wand staff, or it's a ranged wand. Okay, you are looking for magic evasion, and you're looking for ranged evasion. Anything that has these skills on it, W. Anything that has these skills on it is a huge win. Okay, those are the 2 things that you're looking for from your armor and your accessory pieces when you see that. You're also looking for sleep chance. So like sleep chance on this Abyssal Grace Pendant is really, really good. Okay, really solid. It's also got mana regen on it, right? Which again, we talked about mana regen. Having mana regen in your build is a good thing. You should consider that a good trait. Okay. Braces of the Primal King. This is a slam dunk. Can't go wrong. Gives you 5 perception. And again, this drops from the Ant Dungeon too. So like that Cave of Destruction, you get your best in slot wand and your best in slot bracelet. Okay. This is really good too. And the bracelet kind of drops pretty frequently. It's like a 12% drop rate or something from it. It's really easy to get. So you can kind of turn this to purple right away and push it as hard as you can. These are the best boots that I've found so far. Boots cannot run magic evasion, I think. Yeah, they can run ranged evasion. So you see the ranged evasion trait on there. Crisp. And then it gives you like stamina regen is really good because stamina is really hard to come by. Perception is really good as well. And again, the melee, any melee evasion that you can get, melee evasion is not a bad stat, guys. Not a bad stat. Melee evasion is really good wherever you can get it. You just kind of throw it in there. These gloves are the best gloves that I've found so far because they give you sleep chance. Sleep chance, really good, guys. It also gives you critical hit chance. Crits apply to your heals. You can critically heal somebody. Okay, so critical hit chance, sleep chance, mana regen. These are your gloves. Okay, I love these gloves. In my opinion, they're best. They're just super good. I absolutely, and you know, they got range defense on them, which is good, and magical evasion. Crit and heavy attack. True, heavy attack also helps your heals out as well. That's why you need Mastery 10 wand. Precisely. Well, oh yeah, I should have gone over that before. Thank you. This is your cloak right here. Okay, there are 2 purple cloaks in the game. You're gonna get a cloak from Cave of Destruction that looks like when you're doing Cave of Destruction, which is that ant thing that we talked about. It's this one right here. Oh, no. Okay, so Cave of Destruction on this right side. These daggers are really good too, but here are your bracers, like I said. Here's your wand, like I said, and there's a purple cloak in here. It's not bad, but it's not better than the other one. Okay, so like if you get this one, you can use it as a substitute if you'd like, but I recommend staying on a blue cloak over this for now. Okay, this purple cloak is called Ancient Tapestry Mantle. This drops from that crypt, the Shadow Crypt, I think. Pretty sure, yeah, Shadow Crypt. And a lot of people want this cloak. It's really good. It's really good, guys. So you can trade that out too. this is your better cloak, because again, it's going to give you more magic evasion. It's going to give you more ranged evasion. It's going to give you better traits and stuff. So like for what you need specifically, the other cloak is good, but it's better for like more of a damage reduction build, in my opinion. Visor of resistance. It took me a while to settle on a helmet that I wanted. This helmet is crazy good. You know why? Ranged evasion, baby. Woo! Those X-bows that are constantly bombing you and spinning. Yeah, f those guys. This helmet will help you against that, okay? It's a blue helmet. It's relatively easy to get. I got mine from my lithograph book. I recommend crafting it from the lithograph book if you'd escape. Look on the lithograph book. It's somewhere. I've already completed it, so it might have just gone away. But it's in here, I promise. Oh, no, it's way down here at the bottom. You just need 4 of the green helmets that are really easy to get. You just craft 4 of these green helmets, 1 of each, and then bam, you get it, okay? And then if you want to trade it out, it's really easy to trade out because they're sitting on the market. They're sitting on the auction house. Just because I'm in a guild, oh, nice. I just waited until I had Lucent, and then I just bought 2 more helmets that I needed with the correct traits on them. So like you can absolutely do that. Okay. So, but this helmet's really good. Mid-game helmet. It's not your end game. If you get a purple end-game helmet that looks better than this, that has better range defense or magic defense, because there's a bunch of purple helmets in the game, guys. The purple helmet is going to be strong, right? But you can trait this one out really early on and very efficiently. So I strongly recommend staying on blue gear until you're ready to transition to purples. You fully trade out your blues. Do not do what I did. I thought purples would just be better initially. I f***ed up, right? That was a mistake. You should pick up blue gear that has ranged evasion and magic evasion. And if you can get melee evasion, great. You're looking for sleep chance. Really, really good, right? And then anything that reduces silences and whatnot as well, like debuffs and whatnot, are really good too, right? Those are the stats that you're generally looking for. Of the hundreds of blue and green gear in the game, that's what you're kind of looking for, and you just trade those blues out and you sit on them while you collect your purples. And then you trade up all your purples and then you just transfer them and you're off to the races just like this, okay? Heroic Armor of Resistance. I got this for completing the main storyline. And I got max health on mine, which is like a huge W. Huge win. This is like this from what I understand. This thing is just crazy. Okay, I've not found another chess piece that I think is like necessarily stronger than this. There might be a couple that you could sub in, but like this one is really good and everyone is guaranteed that you can get this. So like this is just a really good piece of gear. Heroic Breaches of Resistance. I'm not super happy with my pants. I'm gonna be honest. These are just the pants that I currently have. They do give me mana regen and wisdom, so that's a win. They're not like super bad, but they're not like, I wouldn't consider these the best in slot pants. Okay. If you're wondering which stats, you're like, oh, well, which stats should I go for on this left side here? These stat points. I'll be honest with you, early on, you're not going to have enough stats. The way these work, if you mouse over these, you see if you get your strength to 30, you get 750 max HP. If you get your dexterity to 30, you get 100% crit chance. You get your wisdom to 30, you get 750 mana. You have this to 30, right? And there's 40, 50, 60, 70. But your gear's not going to be good enough to really buff these to the point that you really need to. So, in my opinion, it's best as a healer anyway, to kind of just go through, like, tanks are going to be different, but like as a healer, a ranged healer like this, I just kind of got the 30 set effects here, and I think the dexterity is probably one of your most important skills, in my opinion, because, again, crit helps healing. Okay, so this needs to be at 30. All right, I can almost get one of these to 40. I'm 1 point off, so if I reset this, I can almost get one of these to 40. If I just tank wisdom and I don't put anything in wisdom, you see perception. That's the reason that some of these boots and stuff and the gloves and stuff are really, really good. Okay, because you're getting extra stat points on this left side that help you hit these cutoffs more efficiently. Okay, wisdom is solid. The max mana is good, but the debuff duration is really kind of what you're looking for. Debuff duration, in my opinion, is really solid. Really solid. Dex at 40 is going to give you bonus damage. Okay, you're a healer, so that doesn't really matter too much. The buff duration on perception, that's what I'm trying to get to 40. Buff duration. I was like, which one of these is it? Buff duration. That shit's crazy. You cannot ignore strength as a healer. You cannot ignore this. You must pump this to at least 30. The max health is critical. 50 is kind of a stretch, but the heavy attack is crazy at 50. But like you have to dump really hard for that. So you can see that I can put 30. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. So I'm missing 1 perception here. Fuck. And if I could do this, I would do this. Okay, because the buff duration, in my opinion, is really powerful. I would do this if I could. So instead, I can't reach that 40 cutoff, so I just kind of crank my wisdom up, and then I say, okay, I think Dex is the most important here, so I apply these, if that makes sense. Okay, that was my thought process on this. This wand sucks. This is my placeholder wand. You want Talus's wand, or you want the what's it called? It just came out in the new dungeon. I mean, not the wand, the staff. The staff, I apologize. So you want this Talus's crystalline staff, or you want the Umbromancer? One of those two. One of those two. It looks like this. This is the easier one to get because it drops in the open world dungeon. So you're probably going to end up sitting on this one until you happen to get a Talus. Let's be honest. Talus's staff costs, you know, about $300 US, just to get one of them, and you have to get 3 of them. And then you have to trade it out. It's gonna be a little rough. Okay, so like Talus's staff is a little bit rough right now. You can wait for that to come down. And I'm not a pay to win player. I've not paid to win at all. The staff of the Umbromancer. This is a strong wand. It's very easy to get in the open world. You see how it's only like 100 lucent. Actually, that's the extract is 100 lucent. I'm not sure how much the weapon itself is. But like, it's really cheap because like a lot of people are getting it, and over time it will become more available. So you need to try to get the Umbromancer staff basically as quickly as possible. That's going to be your best staff until you get to Talus. And again, Licorice's Tome, we went over that. Yeah, I think we've covered all this stuff. The last thing I'm going to cover is Mastery. I'll be honest with you, I have not messed too much around with Mastery, but like my staff stuff, I'm pushing damage hard. Cooldown speed 5%, also good. Okay, so like this entire path is going to be really solid for you. This is giving you cooldown and like critical hit chance and all kinds of stuff. So this is really good. Like, and I think this is better. You can technically come down here. You can come down here to this bottom attribute, like right here. You can do this tree if you want. It's not super great though. I don't recommend going into the mana tree. You don't really need it as much. At least I don't need it. As far as wand goes, I do the bottom tree for wand. Okay, I do the bottom tree for wand. So weaken chance, cooldown speed, weaken chance. And again, this is helping me get, I believe weaken chance helps with sleep. I could be misinterpreting that, but I'm fairly certain that weaken chance helps with sleep. And this is why I'm trying to stack as much weaken chance as I can. And so increases skill boost chance by 50. That's crazy. That's insane. That's an insane add-on. It's like these are the 2 that I'm running as far as Mastery goes. Mastery is really good in this game. And if you re-rolled, you're going to struggle to get it. You're going to struggle to get it. Have I missed anything? Oh, this is the block you're using. It's the Chaotic Shield. I haven't actually leveled up this block. I should probably level this up. I got to level this up. The block's not very impactful. You're not really using it very often in PvP. If you want PvE, stay tuned for another guide, because otherwise it's going to be a 4-hour guide. That. Otherwise it's going to be a 4-hour guide. That shit. Okay, so that is all the PvP, large-scale PvP shit that you need. That's your full PvP loadout. I will go through. This is what your DPS loadout looks like for a staff. This is what your dungeon. This is what my dungeon loadout looks like. Okay. But like, this is what we run for PvP. This is what I've settled on as the best stuff, at least for me. I gave you the options in here. I told you exactly what you should be looking for stats. Again, there's going to be no perfect guide that gives you exactly what you need. Like, you're just going to have to adjust as you go, right? As you get green gear, as you get blue gear, look for the stats that you need. Okay, and then just establish for yourself, yes, this piece of gear is good. Okay, it should be really easy as long as you know which stats you're looking for and which stats are good on your class. You cannot go wrong. Okay, all right, like, comment, subscribe. I love you.